Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Cambium Networks. Today's host is Bruce Collins. He is their Director of Product Management, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box. Ask Bruce your questions at the end of today's presentation. Bruce, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate your time and your presentation to further educate us a little more today. I am finished for now. You can go ahead and take it on over.
All right, thanks, Julie, and thanks everybody for joining today. So what we're going to talk about in the session is really sort of a latest status and update on our ePMP 3000, which is our latest generation ePMP platform. So I'll go through where we're at with that product, some of the field performance numbers, so you can see how people are seeing success with this product that is now shipping. And then I also will visit a little bit about our roadmap and some of the things that are coming, and then sort of how does the ePMP 3000 fit in with the rest of the whole ePMP portfolio. So a fair amount of ground to cover, but I suspect it's 20, 25 minutes, and then certainly have plenty of time for your questions, as Julie mentioned. So let's jump into it. The ePMP 3000, at a glance, this is a product that is now available in shipping, and customers are putting these on towers, and we're starting to see really good success stories with this product. We started shipping this right at the end of 2018, and units are starting to get installed, at least where there's not snow and ice. We're seeing these go up on towers. So really good feedback so far on this product. Sort of in a nutshell, the ePMP 3000 is the latest 11AC Wave 2 technology, and it leverages that technology to give up to 5 times the performance of the previous generations. And really this comes from 3 different areas. It comes from the support for 4x4 MIMO. It supports up to 80 megahertz channels, and it also supports higher modulation. So all of these things are available in the 802.11ac Wave 2 implementation as we've implemented it in the ePMP platform. So there's some other AC products out there that are on Wave 1 which don't have these capabilities, so it's important to make sure that you're looking at Wave 2 solutions. The ePMP 3000 is also, as it extends the sort of legacy and lead that we have with our ePMP line. So it also integrates the uplink beam steering capability, which helps with isolating individual subscriber modules so that you reduce the interference coming from the subscriber module end. You also get dynamic filtering. So this is the ability to really focus in the receiver on the radio to look at the particular channel that you're focused on. And then, of course, sort of a hallmark of ePMP and Cambium point to multi-point solutions in general is TDD synchronization. So, of course, 3000 supports synchronization. And the importance there is really self-interference and scaling up to very dense networks. So I can use frequency reuse of n equal 2, and I can pack lots and lots of subscriber modules in a given amount of geographic area and a given amount of spectrum in channel bandwidth. And then as we introduce this new ePMP 3000, we're able to protect the investment that different enterprises and wireless ISPs have been deploying with ePMP. So we offer compatibility with existing 802.11n based devices. So this is our ePMP Force 180, Force 190, Force 200, that family of products. And also those WISPs that have taken advantage of the ePMP Elevate and elevated their devices to ePMP. I'll talk about each of these in a little more detail as we go. And one slightly more subtle point is that even if you're using an ePMP 3000 access point with the 11N subscriber modules, even though you're not going to get the advantages of higher modulations and MIMO, you will see some benefit based on the 4 receive chains in the access point. So you'll see a little bit better link budget, a little bit better performance, even if you're talking to an older 11N device. And then last but not least, ePMP has a 3-year standard warranty. So we introduced this back in last October. You can also get, of course, support direct from the supplier. So this is really also unique at this price point in the industry, being able to have that full 3-year warranty built right into the initial purchase price. So a nice capability for that. So that's sort of a one-page summary of the whole talk today, but I thought I'd hit it right up front. In a little more detail, again, as we talk about increasing throughput or capacity 5 times, it's really made up of 3 components. And really, each of these components, I've listed them here in most likely to least likely to achieve in a real-world scenario. So it's always important to look at what is the headline data rates on these types of products, and then what is really achievable in a given environment. So we start with MU-MIMO. So with the ePMP 3000, you can double the capacity of a sector with the same channel bandwidth just by being able to talk to 2 subscribers at the same time. So given a densely deployed point-to-multipoint sector, you're very likely to see this capability or enhancement in throughput using the 4x4 MU-MIMO capability. The next one is the ability to increase the modulation. So previous generation was capped at 64 QAM modulation. With the capacity of moving up to the 256 QAM modulation, you'll see some additional benefit there as well. And depending on the noise floor and depending on the link budget and the antenna selection, you're still likely to see some of this benefit. And as the subscriber modules that can achieve that higher modulation achieve it, then you're also freeing up airtime for some of those subscriber modules that might be further out and running at lower modulation. So all in all, the whole system runs more efficiently as you introduce that new higher modulation. And then, of course, the last one, which is really depends on the environment that you're deploying, is the ability to add the higher channel sizes. So we offer 20 and 40 megahertz channels, and also with the ePMP 3000, we'll be offering in the software roadmap the ability to go up to 80 megahertz channels. Now, that will all depend on the environment that you're operating in, whether you can achieve an 80 megahertz channel. The vast majority of customers are still deploying at 20 megahertz and 40 megahertz channels with their point-to-multipoint solutions. So here's a little picture of the ePMP 3000. You can see in the upper right there is the access point itself. You'll notice the 4 connectors on top. That's the 4x4 MU-MIMO capability. There's also a connector on that device for an external GPS sync antenna, or you can use the inbuilt antenna. And then on the bottom right there, you'll see the 4x4 MU-MIMO antenna. And this is really the sector antenna that gives you the ability to talk to, by steering the beam, you're able to talk to multiple, or in this case, 2 subscriber modules at the same time. So you're going to double that capacity. The ePMP 3000 also has the ability to support that uplink beam steering antenna that was introduced as part of the ePMP 2000. That is compatible with the 3000, and I'll talk about the timing of that in the roadmap here in a moment. Here's kind of a pictorial view of that MU-MIMO capability. So you can see there, I have an ePMP 3000 access point on a tower. I have, in this case, just 2 subscriber modules, both running our 11AC based subscriber modules. That's a Force 325 and another Force 325. If both of those subscriber modules are requesting information at the same time and they're separated enough in distance, the 3000 access point can form 2 different parallel paths to those subscriber modules and can transmit 2 sets of data. So effectively doubling the capacity. So it's dependent on having subscriber modules that are both ready to receive information and also separated enough angular separation such that the access point and the smart antenna can form those 2 beams and make that connection. And really, so what we see is that as you scale up the number of subscribers in a sector, the efficiency and effectiveness of the MU-MIMO comes more and more into play. The only other thing I haven't mentioned on the actual hardware itself that you see on the slide here is we also offer an SFP port. So some customers with the capacities that are coming with the 3000, you get up above a gigabit per second. We have introduced an SFP port, so you can put a fiber interface on the ePMP 3000 to as these capacities continue to scale up. So here's a brief example of a real scenario with in this case there's 6 different subscriber modules deployed in a single 90-degree sector. And so you'll see they're kind of spread out different distances from the access point and different angles relative to each other. And what the system does is as each of these subscribers comes online, it looks at the angle that they're sitting at, the receive level, and starts to build these groups and determines which groups I can form to get that MU-MIMO functionality. And there's a lot of math behind this. But what you can see here is that if I'm looking at particularly at customer 5, the system has figured out that I can group subscribers 1, 2, and 4 with 5. So let me go back to that previous slide. If I'm trying to talk to number 5 there, you can see down at the bottom of the kind of the bottom middle of the screen, what the system is saying is that anytime I have data to send to customer 5, I can also simultaneously send data to either 1, 2, or 4. So the system keeps track of all that, and when it sees an opportunity, it will send data to 2 of those at a time. And in practice, what that means, and again, there's a lot of the numbers on this slide, but effectively, this is a situation where the capacity went from around 93 megabits per second, you can see the customer 5, and doubles up to 173, so almost 2x. And that's just with the ability to group 4 different subscribers. So as the number of subscribers in that sector continues to increase beyond 6, you'll actually see that efficiency and effectiveness start to creep up towards that 2x performance that we would normally expect to see with MU-MIMO. So that's really in a nutshell MU-MIMO. Let me talk about a couple of other items with the ePMP 3000. We do support backwards compatibility. So what you see in this picture is, again, we can do either forward compatibility or backward compatibility. And so what this is actually showing is a 1000 or 2000 access point being able to talk to both 11N subscribers like the Force 180 and the Force 200. And it can also talk to a Force 325. So that's an 11AC based subscriber module. So in a nutshell, you can pick mix and match 11N and 11AC devices within a 11N access point. Now going forward, I could upgrade that access point on the left. I could upgrade that to an ePMP 3000, and now I can still talk to my Force 180, the Force 200 in backwards compatible mode. So I'll run that in a backwards compatibility, and at the same time be able to talk to the Force 325 or the newer 11AC subscriber modules. So, of course, I won't get the MU-MIMO functionality on those 11N subscribers, and I won't get the higher modulations, and I wouldn't be able to run the higher channel bandwidths. That's all requires the 11AC platforms, but it gives a nice migration path forward for operators that have deployed networks today. And by the way, when that where you see that Force 180 and the Force 200 out there, you can certainly imagine an elevated device. So whether it's a Ubiquiti device or a MikroTik device that's been elevated to support the ePMP software, that can now talk to either the ePMP 2000 access point or the 3000 access point. So this works well with the elevated devices also. And speaking of Elevate, I just want to mention that we have literally hundreds of wireless ISPs around the world that have taken advantage of the Elevate software to effectively move their installed legacy base of Ubiquiti and MikroTik devices to a full function ePMP capability. So they get all the benefits of the ePMP platform by pushing this Elevate capability to those radios. And as I mentioned, it's compatible with our ePMP 3000 in compatibility mode. Here's a little picture of how that works. So in addition to getting the ability to interoperate with these devices, you also get the ability to manage them with our CN Maestro management platform. And back in October, we introduced a lower pricing on Elevate, and we also, each of the access points that you procure, you can also go ahead and get 15 Elevate licenses with that. So you have a nice way to try out the Elevate capability. I'll talk a little bit about the roadmap. This is certainly subject to change, and it's what we call a plan of intent. But sitting here today on this morning on a cold day in Chicago, this is what we see coming down the road. 4.3.1 is the next official release. We're expecting that to be available on our support website within the next 1 to 2 weeks by the end of February. We have a release candidate 21 that's on for our beta customers that is out there, and it's been soaking, and we expect without any other sort of last minute changes, we expect that release candidate to go to official release here by the end of February. The key things that we'll add is that backward compatibility I've been talking about. It'll add the 40 and 80 megahertz channels, and depending on how the FCC queue and status goes, we also expect to add the official support for the 5.4 gigahertz and 5.2 gigahertz bands here in the U.S. We had a little snag with the government shutting down and lost a little time there because the applications weren't being processed. So we still expect to hold to that, but we're somewhat dependent on the government for that final check mark. If it doesn't come in this 4.3.1, it will come in a dot release shortly thereafter. And then you'll see lots of other capabilities and features coming down the road, so stay tuned for announcements on those additional products. So I wanted to kind of set the context of where does the ePMP 3000 sit within the overall portfolio. You'll see here the ePMP 3000 on the left. That's a 5 gigahertz 4x4 MIMO 11AC Wave 2. That's what we've been talking about today, and it's just been released and started shipping in December. The ePMP 2000 in the middle is an 11N based access point. It's available in both a full capacity, meaning unlimited number of subscriber modules, and then a light mode, which limits it to 10 subscriber modules. We see this as still a strong play. So while we've introduced the 11AC platform with ePMP 3000, for those customers that have maybe a smaller number of subscribers, or they see that the capacity and performance is adequate with ePMP 2000, this is still a strong platform, and lots of customers are still deploying the ePMP 2000. And with that backwards compatibility, it's a nice story to be able to upgrade later on when you decide to make that investment to move up to the 3000. And then the ePMP 1000, this has been in the market for a number of years, and we still are selling it. It's available in 5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, and also 2.5 in some of the markets outside of the U.S. And it's an 11N product. That continues to sell and continues to be supported, and we see lots of deployments going out around the world on the ePMP 1000. But it is the one that's available in 2.4 gigahertz. For the antennas, there's again 3 different flavors here. On the left, you'll see that optional smart antenna with the uplink beam steering. That's the ability to add uplink beam steering to either a 2000 or 3000. In the middle is the 5 gigahertz sector antenna. This supports 90, 120 degree sectors. And then on the right is our 2.4 gigahertz sector. I didn't include on this slide the 4x4 MIMO sector, which is just introduced. So that's something that we'll add to this slide, but it gives you a sense of the different antenna options. And then let's talk about the subscribers. With the subscribers, we have a number of different options, and these are in our 11N category. So we have the Force 180. You can see in a nice integrated package there. The Force 190, it's a low-cost dish. Force 200 gives you a little more range and also is available in 2.4 gigahertz. And then the connectorized subscriber module, which allows you to connect to either parabolic dishes. You can connect that to an RF Elements twist port adapter to connect to different various horn antennas. So you have a lot of flexibility with a connectorized SM. And then on the 2.4 gigahertz, we maintain that this is a ePMP 1000 platform, which runs in a 2.4 gigahertz with that integrated 2.4 gigahertz panel. So lots of options on 11N. And then on 11AC, again, a number of options. The Force 325 and 16 are now shipping. So those are available today. And then in the roadmap, you'll see a number of additional devices coming out later this year. We'll have a connectorized subscriber module that runs on 11AC. And you can see there's a little picture in the upper right of that twist port connector. This, again, from a company called RF Elements that is compatible. They make an adapter to connect from this radio onto one of their horn antennas. You can also connect with those two SMA connectors on there. You can connect to any kind of parabolic dish or get higher gain antennas. And then on the bottom, you'll see a little bit further out in the year, you'll see a couple of other devices coming. There'll be an IP67 panel antenna. So this is more for a ruggedized environment. And it comes with a 20 dBi flat gain or flat panel antenna, and then a smaller form factor for short links and sort of short, maybe urban environments where I don't need to go very far with that 13 dBi gain antenna, and that's also out on the roadmap. So lots of different flavors and form factors coming. So depending on the different application or market that you're going after, you have the right solution. I also want to mention we have our bridge in a box. We sell this as a packaged solution of 2 radios that are pre-paired and easy to deploy. So the configuration is largely set up to just plug it in and install it, and you're ready to go. We'll be introducing what we call the bridge in a box UHD. This is a higher capacity. It's leveraging some of the 11AC capabilities. So you'll see higher capacity. You'll see the messaging around the 3-year warranty. This is really going after that small, medium enterprise or even the prosumer market where customers are looking to connect point A to point B for LAN extensions, for video surveillance, stick a CN pilot for a Wi-Fi hotspot, really trying to make that a simple canned solution for that market. So look for more information coming soon on this bridge in a box UHD. With ePMP, I always like to plug the community. This is a great place to get support and really support on any of our products, whether it's ePMP or our point-to-point products, PMP, our IoT products. You can go online and get more information, share with other customers around the world on what they're seeing. And we're starting to see some good feedback about the ePMP 3000 on the forum. So you can see stories of people deploying it and what they've seen in real world situations. So with that, Julia, I'll throw it back to you if there's any questions. This is just sort of that initial slide that was a summary, so I'll leave that on the screen for now. Certainly happy to take any questions now or reach out to me afterwards. We can talk about that. So I'll pass it back to you, Julie.
Thank you very much, Bruce, for that wonderful presentation. We enjoyed it very much. And yes, I do have some questions here for you. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Can you give us a quick overview on where your products are manufactured?
So Cambium works with a number of different manufacturing partners around the world. So we have some products that are manufactured in Mexico. We have some products manufactured in China, and we have some products manufactured here in the United States. The ePMP 3000 is manufactured in China.
Excellent. Thank you very much. A couple more questions here. Next one. Can you elaborate a little bit on the 3-year warranty and the direct support from the supplier?
Sure. So back in October, we had traditionally offered a 1-year warranty on our hardware, and back in October we extended that to 3 years for the ePMP portfolio. So I believe the actual date was October 24th, if I recall correctly. But it's so any radio that delivery was taken after October 24th has a hardware warranty for 3 years. So you can, if anything happens to that, it can be replaced through our normal support channels. And I'll just comment on the support capabilities with Cambium. We offer all different sort of options with support. You can certainly go to our community. That's sort of the baseline. But you can also reach out to us for email support, for phone support, and we also have, a whole team of pre and post sales people that can help with solutions, whether you're looking for what is the right product for the right fit, or if you have a product that's deployed and you're having a question about how to optimize or get some better performance. And then we also have our channel partners. We have more than 5,000 channel partners around the world that offer support on our products as well. But specifically referring to that support direct from the manufacturer, some of our competitors rely almost exclusively on sort of peer-to-peer support, where they're just going to basically throw your question out to a community and hope you get an answer. Cambium tries to make that certainly more formal and provide that the answer for each of our customers.
Thank you very much, Bruce. That was excellent. We usually ask all about that, and you gave us the whole thing. Thank you. Next question here. Is there a billing platform usable to send to customers within the ePMP line or the software associated with the ePMP?
Okay. So this would probably be a good one to ask on the community. We have WISPs around the world that have either built their own billing solution or they've leveraged some third-party devices. So what I'd suggest is if you have a question about that, post it on the community, and we can provide you with some particular examples of working with those. We have support for SNMP, so some of those solutions will interface using the SNMP interface or the MIB interface to enable or disable SMs based on billing status, and then you can also use our CN Maestro platform to see the status of those. But I would say most of the billing platforms are going in through SNMP today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We can certainly do that. Let's see. Next question here for you. Can you tell us about the maximum range of the ePMP 3000?
So range meaning distance from the access point to the subscriber module, and it really will vary depending on the capacity that you're looking for, the availability that you're looking for, and then of course the antenna selection, which will determine your link budget. So what I recommend people do is use Link Planner. Now I have a little bit of a hitch in that, is that Link Planner does not yet support ePMP 3000, but we expect that to be in the very next release of Link Planner, which will be coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Link Planner will let you put in a very specific example of I want to put an access point here, and I want to put a subscriber module at these different locations, and here's the connection. So, but as a rule of thumb, we see people go for sort of rural and suburban environments. We see people go several miles with the connection. But again, it really depends on the capacity package that you're selling to your end user. You can certainly go further than that on individual point-to-point or point-to-multipoint connection. But if you're trying to offer a standard package of 50 megabits per second, you have to kind of look at some other guidelines on how you would set that up. But Link Planner is your friend when it comes to that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Bruce. Couple more questions here. Next one. How many subscribers can connect to a single unit at one time?
So the maximum we recommend is 120 on ePMP. It will certainly, as I mentioned, with ePMP 3000, to a certain extent, the more subscribers you put on the sector, the more efficiently that MIMO will work. And again, that number will vary depending on the capacity or throughput package that you want to offer, and then it also depend on the modulation or distance that each of those subscribers are at, because as a subscriber module is further away from the access point, it'll run at a lower modulation, which will effectively take more airtime to deliver the same amount of capacity. So you really kind of have to look at the overall model. So theoretical number, the maximum number is 120 that we recommend. Your mileage will vary depending on which packages and offerings that you're hoping to deploy.
Thank you very much for that, Bruce. Next question here for you. You informed us that Ubiquiti devices would work For the ePMP, is this for point-to-point configuration only?
That is for point to multi-point configuration. So that's our Elevate solution. And effectively, what you do there is you can go on our website and you can get the software for Elevate and the license keys to activate the number of devices from a particular access point. So, for example, you put 15 licenses, you can get up to 15 subscriber modules in that sector, and then you effectively elevate that Ubiquiti or MikroTik from its legacy software up to its to run the ePMP platform. So you get the management and synchronization and all of the capabilities that come with ePMP. So there's more information about Elevate on the support site as far as the software and release notes and some of the the nuts and bolts of doing that Elevate.
Excellent. Thank you, Bruce. Last question here for you. For the F300 models, what is the maximum throughput it can transmit to a PTP setup?
So I missed the very first part of that. For which models? I'm sorry.
For the F300 models?
Oh, yeah. So the Force 316 and the Force 325 model. Again, I'd recommend having a look at Link Planner because it will depend on the range that you're at. I believe the maximum on those is, I'm going to throw a number out there, but the absolute maximum is going to be between 500 and 600 megabits per second. And as you increase the range, that'll start to come down from that. So that's a rule of thumb or a sort of a theoretical maximum.
Thank you for that, Bruce. One more follow-up question here. You mentioned license fees for the Elevate. Where can we see that?
Did you say license keys? Oh,
excuse me. I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So you can either with the access point that you purchase, there's a email address. And I think you can get this on our support site. You email the serial number of the access point that you procured, and you'll receive those 15 Elevate license keys. And then if you want to purchase more, there's a sales model number to procure additional keys beyond that. But there's, again, the information, if you go to the cambiumnetworks.com and look at the software and download section, you'll see information about that.
Bruce, thank you so very much for answering those questions for us, and thank you to everyone attending today. If anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, you will be able to see them at www.microcom.us. Please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and it will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thank you again, Bruce, for your time and all your information today. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.